Welcome to Wheels Off, a show about the messy reality of the creative life. I'm Rhett Miller.
That's when it got wheels off. We started up and we ain't gonna stop. Oh, said I like it or not. That's when it got wheels off.
Howdy, y'all. Rhett Miller here. So excited for this new episode of Wheels Off. My friend Michael Casey is a magician who performs as Casey Magic. And if you are a longtime follower of the Wheels Off podcast series, you might remember that Michael Casey was one of my very first guests back in the days of live, in-person, recorded interviews. And Michael Casey and I, we're friends before that, and we're still friends. He reached out to me and said, I think you're really going to like Kishi Bashi. And I realized that there were a lot of projects that Kishi had worked on that I am a fan of, but I had never met him. So I was super excited for the opportunity to interview this next guest. You probably have heard different stuff that he's been on. Certainly, his music's been used in all sorts of television shows and films. He himself is also a filmmaker, primarily, I don't want to say primarily anything, but I know him most as a musician. Worked with the band of Montreal, of whom I'm a big fan. Obviously, tons of his own records and films and all sorts of projects. You'll hear when we talk, he does a lot. His creativity is not confined by any one genre or discipline, and I think that's super cool. It's something that's novel to me, and I feel like I learned a lot just talking to Kishi about the way he approaches creativity, and I think you're going to get a lot out of this as well. So I'm super psyched to welcome to Wheels Off the great Kishi Bashi. Welcome to Wheels Off, Kishi Bashi. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for the edification of our listeners, where are you logging in from?
California. I recently, the last few years, I've been living in Santa Cruz,
Woo!
South Bay.
Because when people think of Santa Cruz, they think of the ocean, the college, the boardwalk, but you're in the redwoods.
I'm in the redwoods. Yep, got redwoods behind me. But I did pick up surfing.
Nice.
A couple of years. I'm a advanced beginner.
Amazing. And you're not a banana slug. Nothing brought you there academically. You just wound up
marrying somebody. Yeah, my wife Kimberly, she teaches at university out here. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I've got a cousin that went out there, and I dated a couple of different girls that were banana slugs. That is, for the listeners, that is the mascot of UC Santa Cruz. It's not a derogatory term.
Yeah, they're huge. They're like cigars, slimy cigars on the ground.
So you've had to deal with this as a resident now?
Yeah, when it rains, they come out. They're huge. They're huge. You don't want to step on them.
Oh, okay. Well, this is super cool. We were put together by former Wheels Off guest. I guess not former. Once you're a guest, you're forever. Michael Casey, the magician, brilliant magician. And I'm so glad to meet you. I'm a fan. I'm super excited. I think it's now you're in between big tours right now.
Yeah. I just finished my last the East Coast tour of my 10-year anniversary Sonderlust, and I'm basically for our little party. We like to have a little party at the end. So our tour manager's like, I know this magician, in North Carolina, and then he came, Casey Magic, and then basically hooked us up. It was great. And can I also add that I'm a huge old 97s fan.
Aw.
I have is it Too Far to Care? Is that one of your first albums?
Yeah, it was our third record, but our first Elektra record. So
okay.
First time. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a seminal album. That was like one of my top albums of my young career. So.
Amazing. Well, thank you. That's a huge honor. That's super cool. I'm so glad Michael Casey put us together. It's funny. I randomly got a text from my friend Clark, who plays in the band Toadies from Texas. And Clark just said, dude, I met your friend Michael Casey. He did magic for us last night. So he's like a little Johnny Appleseed of wonder and magic.
And magic. Yes, for sure.
Well, congratulations on 10 years of Sonderlust. That's super fun. What does it feel like to reflect back on a decade of that record?
You mean besides feeling older and and questioning my motivations of late. Yeah, no, it's great. It's interesting to see how I've changed and maybe matured, but also I don't know. There's like a potency to what you do when you're young. That I could hear.
And then what are you working on right now?
Trying to figure out what to work on. So,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, I mean, I have I've just like you have a long career. I'm going on like 15 years now, so I'm really trying to figure out what inspires me.
And you've played in different line. I mean, what's your favorite sort of iteration of the things you've done, to be a part of some bigger project, to be all by yourself, or?
I mean, Kishi Bashi is my solo project. I used to be in a band called Jupiter One back in the knots,
Sure.
And then I was solo since 2012, and so I enjoy doing solo.
Yeah.
I'm like a control freak, maybe a little bit about my music, but at least in the studio and on stage. But I don't know. I play with orchestras. I like playing with different. I like reinterpreting the songs like orchestra or string quartet or like folk band or like a funk band. This time around it's like a funk band. So.
Amazing. And then as you wrestle with the idea of what the next project looks like, how does that look like? Are you trying different things out? Are you writing songs and trying to see what they sound like and where it goes?
Well, to be specific, yeah, I guess like I'm trying to figure out. Okay, I just turned 50 last year.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
So yeah, thanks. So I'm thinking about like what do I want to do in my next 10 years? And I think I thought about one of the things I want to do is I want to be a better producer. So I'm taking a lot of classes and trying online classes and trying to be a better engineer, producer, so I can mix better and like and then also I've been getting into a lot of electronic music, which I always loved but never really had a grasp on, as far as like releasing it. I'm also getting into like Max, like the electronic software.
I do not know it.
It's basically it's going to allow me to like experiment with violin, and it's an interface that connects all like lights and video and like and MIDI and sound together on. It's like it's been around since the 90s. It's a
Wow.
Max, yeah. So it's experimental. So I'm trying to get into more experimental things, trying to figure out. I went to Omega Mart. That's pretty inspiring, actually. The other day.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's kind of like I think I'd like to become more of an artist. That's what and in addition to being a songwriter. Yeah.
Does that manifest itself in like live performance primarily, or are you worried mostly about the recorded element?
I'm thinking about live performance.
Yeah, Max sounds like a live performance thing.
Yeah. It's a lot of like live interaction. And basically how to put, you can take sensors and you can translate it to talk to your computer and trigger samples and video and stuff like that. I think like, I guess what I want to do is I want to make music that's kind of intentional, in additional, or like instrumental music, or I don't know. It's a broad. I'm still trying to figure it out myself, but
I love that. It doesn't seem to me like you're calculating what the right thing to do, quote unquote right thing to do is, or what the market wants or whatever. It seems to me like you're sort of doing soul searching type of stuff.
Yeah, I think like I'm definitely kind of in the. Well, I just finished paying my alimony, so I have a little bit more leeway. At this stage of my life, sorry, you can use that. I'm sure she's not listening, but but like what I'm saying is like I'm trying to figure out what inspires me, and in the past it's always been, oh, I gotta make an album, and then I don't know if the songwriting's like really hitting me right now. I have like a lot of demos, I'm still messing around, as we all do.
Sure.
But it's not. I don't know if it's like completely hitting, and I'm not in any rush to like put an album together.
Well, so that's what I was just going to say that I'm impressed by. It doesn't seem like you're stressed out about this.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not at this age. I feel like I don't need to be stressed out about anything really, except the personal.
That's great though. That's wonderful. Do you feel like when you were younger, like because I asked this out of personal experience, did you feel impatient? Were you like, gotta do more stuff? Or have you always been this kind of chill dude?
No, in the beginning I was just scrambling, it's just put everything in the kitchen sink onto your album, and and I think to a detriment, because it's just like, and then also if you're trying to second guess what the industry or what the public wants, then oftentimes they can smell that and it's going to be disingenuous, and it might not do so well. But I think as I matured, kind of looking back, so the 10-year anniversary album, I think I had the liberty of being more focused and being like, I started seeing albums as like a snapshot of your creative moment in that time.
Yeah.
And it's not anything more or less than that, and then you do it and then you can move on. If it sticks, then great. If it doesn't, like if you're a solo artist, the pressure is a lot lower.
Yeah.
Because if you're a band, you're like, how are you gonna like make a living? And it's like really stressful. But if you're a solo artist, you can just make another album. It's like that's not. I feel like the costs are.
It's so funny. The way you put it is, lately I've been teaching songwriting to undergrads and doing retreats, but it's the undergrads are the interesting, tricky thing. I end up saying to them a lot in a lot of different ways, different versions of, give yourself permission to whatever. Sound stupid, fail, all the different things. But it kind of sounds like you're describing an album as a snapshot in time, and your sort of realization that it only has to be what it is right in that moment. Like you're giving yourself permission to sort of capture this moment and move on. Like it doesn't have to be something bigger.
Yeah, I think it took me a long time to realize that's how artists think, like professional artists. I don't think they're thinking they're ever going to create a masterpiece in that moment. They're just like, this is my job. This is my statement, and then I have a lifetime of statements. I feel like a lot of artists who are not freaking out and have like good mental health probably come to that realization earlier than later.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just a statement of the time.
That's so funny. It's a record. It's a record of that moment.
Yeah. That moment. This is my job. I think I was touring with, early on, like Sonderlust is a friend of mine, and then Montreal, Kevin Barnes, and he was
so great.
Yeah. And he was just telling me, it's basically, it's like you do this and you don't really have to think about, you have to stay inspired, obviously. You have to find what inspires you, but, and if you're excited about it, that authenticity really can translate, but if it doesn't, you just like move on. And I think like that's, I kind of, it took me a while to figure that out, but now that's my whole attitude that, the more honest you are with yourself, the better chance you have of it connecting with a lot of people. And if it doesn't, just move on,
Yeah. I love that. I feel like that's one of the most useful things that comes up on here is the idea that calculation is the art killer. Like if you're trying to predict what the market wants or what you should do or whatever, it's going to want, like, I love the way you put it. The audience can smell it. Like they
can smell inauthenticity. That's why, that's why I don't feel like too scared about like AI music, because people can smell it. They can smell the nothing behind, the thing, you know what I mean? It's just like, it might be interesting, but once you find out it's made by nobody, then it's like, who cares,
Yeah. That's so funny. It's interesting to hear you talking about Max and the idea of trying to build an experience that you can control all the different elements and sensory elements of. It reminds me of in the 80s going to see the Flaming Lips, and their guitar player had a pedal board that was separate from his guitar pedal board, but it was controlling the lights. And while he was playing, he would also be controlling these it was so ahead of its time, but I mean, of course. Yeah.
Are you talking about Steven Drozd?
Yeah.
He was controlling the lights.
Yeah, he just had a pedal board and they had lights on sticks, and he would point at the audience and flash, and now's the strobe light section. Oh man, it was.
Yeah, man. I saw them in the 80s. So they had like the lighter fluid on the cymbals. Is that what?
Yes.
Time? Yeah. I remember. I was like, yeah, and I mean, they're very visual forward and experimental. So they're, it's inspiring, to see something like that in bands doing.
That's really cool. I wonder, so when you were starting out, do you remember knowing always that it was going to be music? Was there like an epiphany moment? Were you a late bloomer? How did it all start?
Well, I went to college 2 years for engineering, and so, but then I flunked out because I was playing in bands. And then I went to Berklee, so in Boston, and kind of dove into jazz. I was always about music. I didn't know I was going to be a songwriter or a singer. I was a jazz violinist. That was my thing. I was just playing jazz violin, like Stefan Grappelli, and like Jean-Luc Ponty was my hero, and so I don't know, is that late? Like college, post-college?
I mean, some people are like child prodigies, but no, I think that's
Definitely not a child prodigy.
so that's intense. So you went to Berklee. So was it the kind of thing where you had to like go in front of did you have to do juries? That's a thing, right?
At Berklee, they give you 4 numbers, and the first one is reading, and then it's like improv,
Yes.
technique, and yeah, and then at that moment, Berklee was kind of like a revolving open door. If you could like pay, you could like pretty much. If you couldn't play any instrument, you would never. But if you could, you'd be kind of like.
I'm sure they would love to hear that.
They probably know it. They know. But it, and it was a great experience in that it's just so full of just exciting, ambitious musicians, and so you take as much as you want from it. I graduated with a film scoring major, so as a film scoring major, but it's like I definitely benefited from it, but I don't know if it's a rigorous academic elite institution.
The benefits that you got from it, do you think they were like the academic environment, or was it people you met and just being forced to make music every day?
Both. I run into people that I still work with, that are like my friends from back then, and that's definitely a benefit to college, I guess. But I think no, I went through composition and all that stuff, so I think I benefited, and the technical aspect of knowing how to film score definitely helped me.
But you did not study songwriting there.
No. I wasn't a songwriter until, so I guess as a songwriter, I was a late bloomer.
Okay.
I was a jazz head before that.
Did you ever feel like your vast, wealth of knowledge got in the way of songwriting, or is it just a larger toolkit, more perfect?
It always gets in the way of songwriting. They're basically like, how cool is that? Check it out, and then like nobody really caring. It doesn't really help the song. But musicians being like, oh, that's cool, and maybe musicians who would think that's cool probably don't care about the song as much, So it's hard to please. I'm always walking that line of how interesting is it versus how powerful is it,
It's so funny. So when you are writing songs for people to consume, that are more straightforward and less just experimental or instrumental or something, is there some like process you use to kind of simplify it?
Yeah, I mean, to simplify it. No, I think it has to be a little bit interesting for me to like want to pursue finishing it, for a demo and then to the album. And usually I have like, like a lot of people do, they just like record little demos on my phone or produce demos in my studio, and then but I only make like 10 songs going into a studio, and then I ditch one of them usually. So I only have like 9 songs per album.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, again, I feel like some people would be stressed out by that. Like there's no wiggle room. I have just enough. Yeah. Well, there's one song.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have to be pretty happy about it going into, if I'm just going to start tracking work, with expensive live musicians in studios, because I like to do that, like record as a band or like have great musicians on my albums, So at that point, if I'm not like 100% sure or 95% sure that I like the song, I'm not going to waste my money or their time, But I'll go like 10 songs or 11 songs, and then that's safe enough, because I feel like 9 songs can make an album,
Yeah.
I feel like 8 songs is not really an album,
Well, your songs are a little bit longer. I'm in a band my band will do a 2.5-minute song on you, and that album might feel a little short.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, mine are usually like 3 to 4 minutes.
Do you? Okay, so we've already kind of talked around this a little bit, and the idea of you being so chill, or I wonder when you come up against internally generated obstacles, like negative inner voices, inner critic, imposter syndrome comes up a lot, like the different things that people deal with that keep us from doing our best work or whatever. What strategies have you figured out to get through that?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think there's like imposter syndrome. Yeah. like pro tips. uh,
Like some people talk about transcendental meditation or sobriety or
definitely variety. But I mean, I'm glad that works for them.
yeah.
I think a lot of times, okay, if I'm out of ideas and I'm like hitting a wall, a lot of times I know that it's natural, and I'm fine taking time away from it. So I'm all about like, and also I know that your brain can like really entertain itself through kind of boredom. And so like, okay, so sometimes I'm like, I need ideas. I'll like, if I'm driving, I won't listen to the radio or podcasts, and I'll just bore myself. And then I'll realize I'm coming up with concepts or like thinking about a song or humming melodies. And I feel like that's what a lot of people do. They take a walk, with
Yeah.
stimulation, because your brain has like so much potential to create. But if it's stimulated all the time, then it doesn't really have a chance to play. And so I think that's important, is to kind of to space. And then also, just I make a lot of little ideas and then come back to it over time. And, but I'm lucky that I have that opportunity, to have that kind of time.
And you live on the mountain.
I live on the mountain. I go to the beach, it's like living a life,
God, I would imagine that surfing is like built for that.
So yeah, surfing is great, except, I don't get too many ideas because it's like you're watching the waves all the time and trying to hit other surfers.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I just got like cut in the ear.
No way.
Yeah, this guy ditched this like jerk like ditched his board.
No.
Flew into my head, and then he like paddled away, and I went to the hospital.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
So it comes with it's not surfing is not like that dangerous. It's not like
Okay.
Skateboarding or something,
I take it back. Yeah, the walk sounds like a lot better place to write songs.
Yeah. So yeah, but I like to take my guitar with me, and after surfing, I can like sit there and like think about things.
Do you mainly write on? Well, I was going to say, do you mainly write on guitar? But you've got all these different kinds of music that you want to write. I'm assuming it's.
Yeah, I like a lot of keyboard stuff. I like soft synths. So
Yeah.
if I get find a new soft synth, if it has like one song if it has one sound that inspires like a song that's like worth it to me, because of it, or a new instrument of sorts,
That's so funny. I love that. Have you noticed that living in the mountain has changed the way you feel about making stuff, being creative?
Well, I mean, there's a huge shift in my life, like after COVID, where I was mostly an East Coast guy. I lived in Athens. Virginia was where I grew up, and I lived in New York. For like 10 years.
Of course.
Of course, we all do. And then,
The post-Berklee pipeline.
yeah, basically. And then, but then during COVID, I think I learned to. I had this camper, and I kind of like I started, because all our gigs were done. We were like musicians were done for like 2 years almost, a year and a half. And so I had nothing really to do. So I started going like to the West, and I started to slow down my life and go to places that don't have venues, you know what I mean? Like the mountains, like the Mountain West, and places that that I had never really appreciated until I had the time to like appreciate them. And I think, I love like the outdoors, and I think, that was like particularly inspiring, is to include nature in your life. Is that when you're like a fast-paced musician, it's especially like living in New York or something, you don't really appreciate the importance that gives you your like heart and your soul.
Yeah.
So that was a major change, and so now I integrate that into my life. It's like essential. Yeah.
I love that. What kind of camper, out of curiosity? Because one of my dreams is to get a camper. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but I love them.
Nothing crazy. It's like it was like a small like car camper,
Oh yeah.
You could tow with. I had like a Highlander, I could just tow it.
Perfect.
And kind of like it folds out with like a little tent.
Yeah.
You take it, and just you get out there, but honestly, now that I live out here in like,
Yeah.
it's like camping at RV camps. Like RV sites are not like super sexy,
So that's the problem. Yeah.
Backpack sexy. If you can like hike out with like a backpack.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, because you're really out of the way of people.
Yeah, the RV camps get a little like Trump flags,
Well, you're also just next to a guy with his generator on, He's was watching Fox News in his
Oh,
air conditioned camper,
so funny.
Maybe they're sitting outside, maybe not,
I love it. Well, this is really cool, and there's a lot of great, super useful stuff. I wonder if you would be willing to try to distill some of this and imagine a 21-year-old version of you in today's world, and what advice you might give that 21-year-old Kishi.
Okay, so I'm a 21-year-old like Gen Zer right now.
Yeah, whatever they are. I actually have it. I have a 22-year-old myself, so I don't.
I have a 20-year-old. I have a 20-year-old daughter. So you mean?
Yeah. So this is exactly like talking to them, but they're you. So
okay. Can I just pretend? Okay. So if I was gonna say, I mean, I guess I would tell myself that. You mean like, okay, wait, is the 21-year-old me like we're just like grown up with social media and just like insecure and just kind of dumb with ChatGPT and stuff?
at this point, I think you can just decide how you want to build the hypothetical.
Yeah. Well, one thing I try and stay out of my like daughter's like personal life. We have a great relationship. I just went camping with her, in Zion.
Nice.
But I think it's like I'm like, I'm just like, at some point, you need to like have a career, but find a job that inspires you, and then also make sure you're surrounded, take care of your friends so that you're surrounded by people that you can love and trust, and have and be kind to people, and that's the kind of thing. If you're just like the basics might sound like kind of boring and unsexy, but it's just like it's so fundamental to find peace and happiness in your life alongside being a functional member of society, so that society doesn't collapse, but
do you feel like this is all stuff that you were kind of not getting at 21?
Yeah, when I was 21, or say like when I was living in New York City, like when I was 23 or 20, 23,
Yeah.
it was just like a dog eat dog world. And I thought that's what the world was, is that it's a race to the top, and everybody's just like trying to undercut everybody else. And like, oh, even your friends are like, you're jealous of your friends who get better gigs than you. And then, and then not realizing that there's no top of this like imaginary, pyramid that you're climbing. If you think about it, and if it's really just about finding joy and inspiration and constant change,
Yeah.
But then also, taking care of like your friends and your family and like, the people you love and building like a circle of trust, so that you feel, so that people can help you when you need help, so I don't know.
I love it.
There's no rat race. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's a good point. Most people think that there is one.
Yeah, when you're young, you do, because you think like you need to make money or you need to be independent or you need to, because social media, everybody's just like everybody's so glamorous and wealthy and successful. But I've noticed that with a lot of Gen Zers that they've grown up and they're used to pretending like they're something bigger than they are. And I see that it's super weird to me, like a Gen Xer, to see it's kind of like lame.
Yeah.
to be so naturalized at pretending, but it's like normal for them. It's just like, it's like, if you can get over that, I think you're gonna find a lot more happiness in your life.
Yeah. I mean, maybe only you and I are going to care about the Gen X, Gen Z, millennial, like all the difference. But it is true when, I'm a little older than you, but roughly, that when we were growing up, there was a whole thing about, I'll tell you this. My guitar player's son is a musician living out in San Francisco, mid-20s. He recently asked him, Dad, what's selling out?
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, selling out was like huge. Like you talked about all the time. Oh, God, they sold out. Don't sell out. It was just like now, like you'd be like, whatever, man, I'll do anything.
I'll do anything to grab that bag. Stacking those. Yeah, I remember like you probably remember this too. It was like right in the 2000s. It was like you couldn't like selling out would be like putting your song in a commercial.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like of Montreal, like put their song in that
Outback Steakhouse.
Outback Steakhouse. And Kevin was like, man, everybody was so pissed. And, you know, because I played it on Montreal for like, you know, a year or two. And they're like, people would show up at their shows, just like the back turn, they buy a ticket, be up front, get in line to be up front, then turn face like backward for the whole show, you know, kind of situation.
Oh, just to show their disdain for,
their disdain for song. And then after Napster came in and basically took all like digital, you know, revenue for artists, then all of a sudden, like, I think people started realizing that artists need to make money. So, and then just a few years later, it was just like, it was no problem. It was more like, congratulations. Oh, congratulations. I saw you in a something commercial, you know.
Yeah.
People realize you need to make money. But before then, it was like, I remember like Wilco got in some heat and you know,
yeah,
like, it was like, selling out was, it was tense, you know.
It was tense. It was, I had just sung a baby back ribs version for a Chili's commercial right before the Outback Steakhouse used, which is such a great song. That song is fucking incredible. The fact that it was on TV all over and over again, it made me so happy. But yeah, but yeah, I sort of pointed to the Of Montreal example as hey, look, this is a super cool band. So
honestly, I was a huge fan before I met them or joined them, and I was fucking pissed too. I was pissed, and then they did all a MySpace message, you know.
Yes,
this is how we pay for our tours, and you know, like, this is how we bring you a premium entertainment on the road, and whatever, man. You know.
Oh man, well, this is so good. I really appreciate you taking the time. I hope you get to go walk around on your mountain some today. Super beautiful. And I hope folks get to go see you on this next leg of the tour. I know it's West Coast and some Midwest, South, Texas in there a little bit.
Oh yeah, we got some Texas in there.
Oh yeah,
Austin, got some Dallas.
Well, that's great. I know I missed the East Coast, but I'm hoping that I can catch one of these.
All the time.
I'm so glad I got to talk with you. Thank you so much.